Hey folks, Dustin Zarni here. Welcome to Commissioner in a Car. And no, I'm not in a car. That's very observant of you. But I'm here in my home office. And it's actually one of the reasons why I haven't been doing these podcasts is around Easter, my car got into trouble. And, I'm commissioner in a car. So I'm like, next week the car will be fixed. I'll just skip until next week. And then the car still isn't fixed. I have a warranty issue. Not a big deal. A lot of information here that you don't need to know. But I also traveled twice and I got sick. And the month of April is always very busy. But that's why I wanted to do this today on May 5th, because we're at the end of the petition process and the primary ballot is set. And so that is why I want to do this, Commissioner in a Car, get this information out there for you, because it's very important, and I didn't want to wait another week. I do think my car is coming back this week, although I've been saying that every week for the last 4. But even if it doesn't, I'm committing myself to doing this podcast, whether I have a car or not. But that's okay, right? So. Thank you for coming to Commissioner Car. Today is Tuesday, May 5th. And this is the primary is set edition of Commissioner in a Car. And we are 49 days away from the June primary. So it's coming up. And 182 days away from the big midterm November election. So lots of stuff going on. So this edition, we're going to talk about 3 things: petitions, objections, and primaries. Okay? In that order. The month of April was our petition turn-in season. It was also the objection season that we would have as well. And to those petitions, overall 151 petitions were turned in to the Onondaga County Board of Elections. That's about normal for well, it's not normal. It's actually a little bit more for an even year because we have a lot of local offices running now. Although normal for like an odd year. We actually have more petitions and more office seekers in an odd year in the past than before, because in the even year we just don't have that many people running, just federal and statewide offices. So now that we're adding in some of these town races and county ledge races, we actually have a lot more. That 151 petitions turned into 342 candidates. And so that set the field for November and the June primary. But once you turn in a petition, that's just the first step. The second step is that somebody can object to your petition. And out of the 151 petitions, there were 39 what's called general objections. Okay, general objections are just pieces of paper people file. It doesn't really mean anything. It just means I want 6 more days to look at this. And then it turns into specific objections. And specific objections is when things get real, because I'm going to lower myself a little bit here. Specific objections are when it gets real, because the person who's putting it in are giving details about why we should throw out a petition. And there was 22 of those. And I also say it gets real because the person who's making the objection has to pay to overnight those objections to the people they're objecting to. So there's a monetary cost. You can't just throw crap at the wall anymore. You have to actually, well, some people did throw crap at the wall, but you have to pay money to throw that crap. So that's what they did. There was 22 specific objections. All 22 had hearings, because by law, we have to have a hearing whether anybody wants it or not. And then 6 of those objections were upheld, where we threw people off the ballot. One of them was Morgan Babette, or Babette Morgan, who was running for County Line 16. She did not contest her objections, so she's off the ballot. But there's still a primary there, and we'll go over that in a second. One of them was Dan Stazone, who was running for Common Councilor at Large. He did not contest his objections, and there was 2 committee petitions, I'm not going to remember the names, where they objected to the committees. There were, and they were thrown off. There was, there was a supervisor, a Republican supervisor out in DeWitt who did not contest his objections and actually declined the ballot. So that came off. That's 5. I know I'm missing one, and I can't remember what it is, but that's okay. So those were the ones that we said, yes, we agree with the objections. So think about that. 342 candidates, 151 petitions, 39 general objections, 22 specifics, only 6 candidates thrown off the ballot. So that's pretty important. And it's also, pretty indicative of what usually happens in these things. It's not usually where somebody files an objection and somebody gets thrown off the ballot. It's very rare. Usually people who are filing these petitions have done the work, got enough signatures, and are going to appear on the ballot. So now that we have the all of the hearings out of the way, we know where the primary candidates are. So primaries are when more than one person is submitting to be on the same party line in the general election for a political subdivision. So if 2 people put in petitions, it becomes a primary if it's a vote for 1, 3 people if it's a vote for 2, so on and so forth. I've got my primary candidate list right here. We have a county-wide Democratic primary. And that's because up at the state board, they certified 3 different offices that were 3 different people that are running for state comptroller. That means we are going to be opening up every polling place. We are going to be, have every polling place open, 6 different early voting sites. We'll go into that more next week, where they are, because we're setting them this week, although it's very close to being set. And that's where, you can go. Of course, you can do vote by mail, and that's happening next week as well. So for state comptroller, we have the incumbent Thomas DiNapoli with 2 challengers, Drew Rorshaw and Raj Goyal. They've all been certified by the Board of Elections, and they are going to appear on the ballot. The 3 of them, whoever wins, will go on to November. There's also the 129th Assembly District. The incumbent is Bill Magnarelli. He's being challenged by County Legislature Mo Brown. That is the bottom south, and, well, it's actually kind of a weird district that goes around the north side of Syracuse, down along the west side, down along the southern tip, and up into University Hill, and the town of Geddes and the town of Van Buren. So that is the 129th. There's a great article in the paper about it today at Syracuse.com if you want to get a background and idea of the people who are running in that. We have 3 county legislature primaries on the Democratic side. Incumbent Chad Ryan is facing Tammy Honeywell, who ran against him last year and lost for a primary. She's back again, but Chad is an incumbent this time as opposed to seeking the office last time. There is that's in the 8th County Ledge District. In the 15th County Ledge District, that's the race that Mo Brown represented, but he's no longer running, and so it's an open seat. But there's kind of a weird wrinkle in there because there's another rematch here. It's kind of the year of rematches. Bill Kinney versus Joe Bennett. Bill Kinney ran against Joe Bennett, I believe 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago now, and beat Joe Bennett. But the district was much different then. In 2021, the district used to go out into Geddes, and that's actually the 8th now. They have the 8th, the Chad Ryan Tammy Honeywell district, is the west side of Syracuse and goes out into part of Geddes. The Bill Kinney district that he won in 21 was that district. Now this is an open seat, and the district has changed. It now has part of the university area, and it goes down along the southern tip, much like the 129th. and it goes up into the Strathmore area. So that is the county line 15th. It's Bill Kinney versus Joe Bennett. Open seat, although Bill Kinney used to represent that seat 5 years ago now. Legislature 16th is an open seat. Charles, oh my gosh. The current county legislature, Charles Garland, has decided not to run again. Charlene Tarver and Neatwa Bullock are running. Charlene's not held political office here in New York, but she has in Arizona and is from here and is back and running. And Neatwa Bullock used to be on the school board and is now running for the county ledge 16. And then the entire city of Syracuse also has a primary with the counselor at large to-fill vacancy spot that was created when Rita Paniagua was on the Common Council and she ascended to the presidency. And Shayla Surratt, Helen Hudson, and Maurice Laub, they are running for that seat. So Helen Hudson used to be the president, was term limited. Rita became the president. Helen is running for this again and was appointed to the Common Council by the Common Council to serve in this capacity. Shayla Surratt is not a newcomer to politics. She's been around quite a bit, but I believe this is her first run for county office. She actually got the backing of OCDC, and Maurice Laub ran on his own. Now, Helen and Maurice had hearings because their petitions were challenged, but they were able to provide ample proof at the hearings to be put back on the ballot, creating this primary. So there's that. Now, there's a couple of other races. There's which are county committee races. We have two EDs that have submitted more names. Now, you may not understand this, and it's very wonky, but the county committee of every party, the Democrat and the Republican Party, as well as the Conservative Party, not the Working Families, that's a whole nother story, but they have the ability to be represented by their county committee, and there are 2 people per election district that can represent it, and if more than 2 people submit petitions, it actually becomes a primary. And so we have 2 of those, one on the Democratic side in Geddes 5. There is 4 candidates: Daniel Berkowitz, Alex DiTullio, Donna DiTullio, and Madeline Thibault. And then on the Republican side in Pompey District 6, it's a vote for 2, but there's 3 candidates: Deb Grenier, Nicholas Peter Palladino, and Michael Penoyer. So there's only 1 Republican primary, just that get a Pompey 6. But if you're a Democrat anywhere in Onondaga County, there's a primary for you this year. So that's what we've been doing at the board all this last month. April is actually one of the busiest times at the Onondaga County Board of Elections outside of actual election season because of these petition periods. So I told you I traveled a couple of times. I want to tell you about that as well while we're here. There were 2 different times that I traveled in April representing Onondaga County and New York in 2 different things, both doing with the federal government. First off, I traveled to Chicago for the annual Local Leadership Council meeting of the Election Assistance Commission. That's the United States Election Assistance Commission. Think of the New York State Board. It's really kind of the overarching federal board that gives guidance on how to hold and run elections all over the state. They have a couple of different committees. The Local Leadership Council was created in 2021. It has 2 people from every state that go in and give advice to the Election Assistance Commission on things that are going on in their states and local matters that they want help with. I am one of the 2 representatives of New York. I've been serving in that capacity since 21, so I was honored to go to that. I actually I spoke at the meeting about the upcoming Supreme Court decision on mail-in ballots and how that might affect New York, where there's a real good chance that they're going to say that ballots have to be received by Election Day for federal contests. And in New York, we can receive them up to 7 days after Election Day as long as they're postmarked on Election Day. So that's going to be a big change. Stay tuned to this space when that decision comes out. And sometime in the near future, I'm going to do a whole redistricting podcast as well, because I know that decision came down last week. But I want to kind of wait for the dust to settle to kind of give you an idea of everything that's happened with that. So, because there's a lot of states rushing to change things now, and that's going to be in court. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to talk about that. The other thing I flew in for was the Project for Election Infrastructure. That is an advocacy group, a nonprofit, bipartisan advocacy. By the way, everything that I do with these are bipartisan. It's a nonprofit, bipartisan advocacy group. They flew in election officials from all around the country. There was about 8 of us from New York that came in, and we met with federal officials on both sides of the aisle to talk about the importance of funding elections on the federal side, especially for security. So we met with, John Mannion personally met with the New York delegation, and that was great. We also met with the offices of Gillibrand and Schumer. The House Democratic Conference met with us, but we also met with the offices of Stefanik and Tenney as well. So it was bipartisan meetings, and I think it went really well. Will we get that money? I don't know. The federal money is tough to come by right now. But every time we go, we are able to talk to them about other things as well. There's a bill percolating that will give tax exemption to temporary poll workers. That's something that I've been working on with the federal, with Congressman Morelli's office. By working on it, I gave them the idea. They're writing the legislation, but I'm giving feedback as well. So, I'm very happy to have people listen to the things that we do. And sorry, I saw in the comments Rebecca Miller said that the stream is lagging. Again, I usually do this in my car. I'm inside my house. Don't know if that's why it is, but sorry if it is. But it'll eventually upload again, and hopefully won't be lagging. So that's what's been going on. Next week, the ballots will be out in the mail on Friday and Monday for the primary, so we'll talk about that. And we'll talk about the mail check cards. So there's a lot of things coming in your mailbox. You might start getting them now. I think they started to hit this week for the mail check cards. Ballots will start going out next week. So we'll talk about those next week on Commissioner, hopefully back in a car. So we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping I'll be doing that on Sunday. I want to get back to my Sunday ritual of doing this. I feel like I'm always out of sort when I don't do that. I've also been a little, not as lackadaisical, but a little lackadaisical about my weekly walk. I think I only did 2 in the month. I wanted to do 4. I like to do 1 every week. So I've been kind of stuck on Senate District 50. That's the Senate district held by Chris Ryan. And one that we flipped a few years back with John Mannion, who's now in Congress. So I'll be talking about that. Hopefully this Thursday or Friday I'll have an article written about that and getting back on my horse. Now that it's May, we're in the election season, 49 days to the primary, 182 days until the general election. So I'm really hopeful that we will be back at it. And I'm going to try to keep up with my content, whether I have a car or not. All right. Thank you very much and enjoy your day. Bye-bye.